Alright, good afternoon again, class, and welcome to week 6, documenting sources using APA style or format. Let's begin with the presenters of this session. Jaden, the mic is yours.
Alright, so for the introduction, I will pass this to our first speaker, Mrs. Shamila. Thank you.
Thank you, Jaden. Okay, so a very good day to Dr. Aladdin and my beloved course mates. How is everyone doing on this lovely day? Okay, since I'm not hearing any response.
Good.
Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious.
Yes.
Yes, I agree.
What's
I
that?
don't know. Okay, so I'm assuming some of you might not be feeling the best today, but don't worry, because hopefully this fun yet educational presentation will uplift your mood. Before we begin, as always, allow me to introduce you to my teammates. Next slide, please. So we are group 4, and do we need an introduction? Absolutely, we do. So to start off with, we have the tremendous leader, Jaden. He goes by the motto, work hard, play hard. Next, we have the eternal beauty herself, Hazel. I'm not only talking about her looks, but her personality, kindness, and her capability to get her work done marvelously. Next slide. And we have Azim, our golden boy. If I could describe him in one word, it would be a wonder. He has the ability to bring magic in whatever he works, and particularly in designing the slides. Okay, moving on, we have Jenny, an inspiring, thoughtful, and amusing woman. Then you have me, bold and a little mad. You put that together, you have me, a chaos. So, you all are quite familiar with the 5 of us. However, we actually have another special member. Drum roll, please. Azad! The chillest, unique, and hilarious person you'll ever meet, who's also full of potentials. Okay, so next slide. So today we will be presenting, as always, Unit 4, documenting sources using APA, just American Psychological Association format. We will be covering the introduction, in-text citation, and finally writing references. Next slide. Therefore, by the end of today's presentation, we will be able to identify the different types of sources for academic writing and document the sources using the APA format. Okay, before we delve into this topic, I said this presentation is going to be fun, right? Yeah. So, let's begin with a video starring, I'm not going to spoil it, let's just watch it. Are you guys up for it? Yeah!
Yeah. Let's go!
Let's go!
See the video, let's go.
Play the video.
Oh my god, I have an essay that I need to finish tonight.
What's going on, guys?
I need to read right now.
3 hours later.
Gosh, this essay is so hard. How about I just take an essay from the internet?
It's okay. Okay, doctor is back now.
Okay.
Alright.
Oh, crap.
So doctor, are you here now?
Yes,
Doctor?
Can we forward the video? Yeah.
Alright, can we play the video one more time?
sure.
Let's watch it one more time.
Sound effects. Playing
Let's go
games.
this game, bro. Oh my god. I have an essay that I need to finish tonight. Oh my god. So I need to do it right now.
3 hours later.
Gosh, this essay is so hard. How about I just make an essay from the internet? But do I need to list down the references and the citations? It's not like Doctor will know. I'm just gonna plagiarize from Google.
Oh my god, it's gonna be end.
One week later.
Oh, let's see what I got for the essay.
0.
And what? I get an F? I failed.
Thank God you have not been expelled.
What the FBI, open
Okay, that was the video.
Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious.
Yes, Ojas. Thank you.
Wonderful.
That's our star.
That deserves an Oscar.
So never do it again, Rizla. Muhammad.
Yes, doctor.
Azad.
Azad.
Okay, so hope you guys enjoyed it. So what was the purpose of that video, you may ask? To answer that question,
It's a great teaser, a grabber.
allow me to ask you a question. Who should I choose? I want to ask the person that I
Hey.
really look up to and admire in this classroom.
Ooh.
It would be Muhaimin. Yes, you.
Me? Okay,
Yes.
so what is the question?
Oh, calm down. So the question is, did you enjoy the video first of all?
Yes, of course. A lot of things happened there.
Great. So what is the main idea of the video?
The main idea of the video, I would say, of course, plagiarism.
Okay, yes, as I was plagiarizing.
Yeah.
But you need to support your answer.
Okay, sorry.
What about, remember last semester when we talked about the message, or what do we call it then? The message, what's the message of the poem or the short story? There was another word that we used. So anyhow, we said the theme, I think, the theme, yeah. So we said that the theme should not be a word, should be a sentence. Remember the final exam, what was the theme of the poem Stones versus Tanks, and another one, the poem by William Wordsworth. I asked you about the theme of that,
It's like the theme should not be a word, but like a sentence.
a sentence. So you said that it's about plagiarism, but what is it about the plagiarism? So it should not be just one word, it should be a sentence. So Muhaimin, you can ask, maybe can try to answer again now. Your answer was
Okay, I'll try to answer again. Okay, so
was insufficient. What is it about plagiarism?
Okay.
Do it. Plagiarism is
Yeah.
fantastic. Plagiarism is disastrous. Plagiarism can lead to failure. So what is the theme?
okay, I'm sorry if I did it wrong. So, in opinion, it is about honesty. So, honesty in doing work. Plagiarism is related to honesty. You cannot just copy paste everything just like that. You have to do it correctly. So that's why. So, I think that the theme is actually honesty is the key to success, I guess. You cannot just copy paste everything.
Or plagiarism?
What do you think, Doctor? Is it?
Maybe if I were you, I would focus on, I would highlight, the word plagiarism should be part of the sentence,
Okay.
the theme. So I would highlight the plagiarism. For example, plagiarism is unacceptable under any circumstances.
Okay, like,
Plagiarism, for
alright,
example,
so
is
I think that
unacceptable under any circumstances.
yes, plagiarism is never be an option for us.
So something like that. But we can get back to the one who asked us whether we have captured the idea she encapsulated in the video.
Okay, why do you say it's plagiarism? Like, what did Azad actually do in that video?
Of course, you can see that Azad literally copy pasted like another person says it without paraphrasing it or like giving credits to the owner or citing the sources. So it is like Dr. Adin said, it is an academic crime, So that's why he failed the course.
Absolutely, you get the idea. Brilliant. Thank you, Jaime, really. Okay, to support our main ideas in academic writing, we must, next slide please. Okay, where was I again? Yes. We must include supporting details that are relevant to the topic being discussed. The details can be in the form of committees or public figures. Incorporating these ideas into our writing will help to make the piece of writing more convincing and academic because you have accurate details and facts to support your main ideas. And you are not just writing based on your prior knowledge. However, passing off a writer's idea as your own without citing or acknowledging the contribution of other writers in the reference is a crime. Now, we don't want to fail this course like Azad did, right? We are students, not thieves. Okay, so I am done with the introduction. I will let my dear talented friend Azim to take over. You may go.
Alright, thank you Mila for that clear explanation for the introduction. Now I'll be jumping into the sources for academic writing. As you can see in page 54, you can see there are 5 sources for academic writing. First off, we have here is academic books. The academic books can be written by one or more writers, and there are many chapters depending on the depth of the book's coverage. A chapter can be written by different authors, or a writer can write about a chapter out of the many chapters in the book. Well, and of course, there will be an editor that will be finalizing the book, and some of the book may have many editors as well. It can be in the form of hard or soft copy. Next up, we have the newspaper article. It is written by a columnist or journalist. The content that is in the newspaper articles will be about an event or a public issue or a current issue. It also can be retrieved in a hard or soft copy. Next, can we go to the next slide? Okay, thank you. Next we have is the magazine article. The content in the magazine article is relevant to the genre of the magazine. For an example, The Economist discusses about the economic issues, whereby the Dewan Sastra covers the Malay literature works. And each article has its own writer and is usually produced by a company or an organization. Similar to the previous one, you can have in a hard or soft copy. Next up, we have the scholarly journal article. It can only be written by experts in a particular field, researchers or scientists. A journal may consist many articles by various writers. A journal is published can be published twice or thrice a year. Each journal has its own volume and issue number because it will always be updated from time to time. Hard and soft copy is available, but however, the online database compiled journal articles can be accessed freely or with a fee. Well, as a nego, not information is not all free. Okay, next page. We have the internet articles. It is written and published by individuals. Sorry about that. written and published by individuals, public or private organization, institution, corporate companies, political parties, or even a national government. Some articles may or may not have the writer's name, and of course, since it is a source from the internet, some of the information is biased. The information may also not be reliable, so do not trust the internet articles 100%. However, there are many articles that are written by a special organization, for instance, like health organizations that give accurate, up-to-date statistics. Articles can also be written by field experts in their blogs. Okay, now moving on, we have, as you can see on page 55 to 57, we have the types of sources and key details. Okay, can we go to the next slide, please?
Yeah, this is table.
Thank you. First off, we have the academic books. And the key details are the author name, publication year, book title, publication place, publisher, retrieval date online, and website address online. Say for the next one, we have the edited academic books, same as the academic books. You just have to change, instead of the author name, you need to change to the editor's names. And for the edited academic books with chapter, you just have to change you need to add in the chapter title and the chapter page number, as well change to each chapter author's name. Yeah. Thank you. Next up, we have the newspaper articles, whereby you need to insert the author's name, article date, article title, newspaper name, page number, retrieval date, and website address. Moving on, we have the magazine articles. You just have to change to the publication date and the magazine name, because it's a magazine. And next one, we have the scholarly journal article. Similar to before, you just have to change the publication year, journal name, and the volume and issue number. And for examples, you can refer to page 55 to page 57. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, the last one here, last slide. We have the internet article written by personal authors. You need to insert the author's names, year, article title, retrieval date, and website address. Next one, we have the internet article written by institutions or organizations. You just have to change the institution, the organization name, instead of using the author's name. And next off, we have the internet article written by personal authors. You need to, same as before, you just have to insert the article title and exclude. And you don't have to insert any writer's name or the author's name. And the last one, we have the internet article with editors, similar to the internet article written by personal authors and the internet article written by institution organizations. You just have to change the editor's names. Okay, that will be all from me. Now, I'll be passing on the presentation to my dear friend Azad.
So these are the kind of details that you need to take note of when consulting a source to avoid, academic dishonesty, and to give credit to the sources you consulted, and to show that you actually also that you consulted other sources, and so your work is of consulting sources and acknowledging that will provide strength to your piece of work, because it shows that you did review the literature, available literature. So these are the kinds of details: the year, the article title, the book title, whatever title of genre you are using, the year of publication, the place of the country or city of publication, the publisher. If it's a journal article or a type of article, you need to include then the title of the journal or magazine, the volume, the issue number, the volume number, and if it's from the internet, you need to include the DOI or website using where it is retrieved from. So whenever you consult a source, then you need to jot down on a piece of paper such information. All these details will be required in the referencing page. At the end of your piece of work, you need to have a page or a number of pages titled references. So you need to write the full reference, the author's name, the kind of publication, the year of publication, the place of publication, the title of the publication. So all such details will be needed for the referencing at the end. But part of these details will be needed for the in-text citations. Within the body of your work, you will need some of these information. For example, you will need the author's name or names and the year of publication. Within the text as you write, within the paragraphs. The complete picture will be given in the references section at the end of your essay or article or book or piece of work. So let's now move on to now that we know the sources for academic writing and the kind of details we need to jot down when consulting a source. Even, by the way, guys, even if you take information or benefit from the insights of even the exchange of an email or an email exchange, like you write to a professor, for example, about an issue, and you gain some insight, some benefits from this exchange. So even this should be, if you are honest and if you are academic, you will still also document this. Between brackets, you could say that this is, for example, personal communication. Personal communication. For example. So now that we know the sources of academic writing and the kinds of details we need to take into consideration when consulting a source, let's now move into the in-text citations and see the kinds of what should I call it? Because there is more than one way to do it, more than one system. The one we're going to look at in this chapter, used by the APA, is what is also known as the author date system. The author or name year system, author date system or name year system. Will you mention the author's name and the year of publication? There are other systems. Let's, by the way, maybe at this stage, class, the presenters, can you please stop presenting? Maybe you can watch a video and then come back to you, just to vary the methods used in teaching, to create some kind of liveliness and to prevent boredom. So let me play a video about in-text citations. Maybe you can get an overview of the systems used, one of which is the one we're going to talk about in the textbook, which is, as I said, also known as author date system. Present now, entire screen, share, and let me I'm not sure which one I intended to play. Let's start with this one.
Citations for beginners. You found some really cool information on the internet, and you want to put it in your research project, huh? Sounds great! It's always a nice feeling when you find the perfect piece of information to include in your assignment. Now, before you place that information into your project, there's something you should know. You could get into trouble. Yep, that's right,
Azad, remember.
a lot of trouble for taking information from a source and putting it in your research project without sharing where you originally found it. It's called plagiarism. Plagiarism is when you take someone else's information and try to pass it off as your own. So what should you do if you want to include someone else's information in your research project? Well, it's okay to use information from other sources in your assignment. In fact, it's what you're expected to do. All you need to do is share where you originally found the information. Include what is called a citation in your research project. Citations are usually found at the end of research projects, and they include information about the original source. Here are a few items that are included in a citation: the name of the author, the title, and the date the information was created. There are other pieces of information that are included as well. So why do we create citations? Well, it's important to share where you found the information and give credit to the author. Also, if a classmate or teacher wants to look at the website that you used, they can use the information found in the citation to locate it themselves. And when you include citations in your research project, you're showing your teacher that you found great sources that relate to your topic. Now, what's tricky about citations is that you have to make them look a special way. Just like there are rules that you need to follow in school and on the bus, there are certain rules that you need to follow when putting together a citation. Here's how a citation would look for a website that I found on Tigers. You can see the author, title, the date the information was added to the website, and other pieces of information. Looks a little weird, right? Well, the good news is that you don't need to memorize or figure out how to place the information in this special format. You can use citation websites such as EasyBib to help make your citations quickly and easily. Let's do a quick wrap-up. Plagiarism is when you take someone else's information and try to pass it off as your own. It's okay to use information from other sources in your assignment. To prevent plagiarism, add citations for those sources. Citations need to be written in a specific way. Include the name of the author, title, date it was created, and sometimes other pieces of information. There are websites like EasyBib that help you create citations quickly and easily.
All right, this was a wonderful, introduction to the importance of documenting your sources. Let's take another video titled Citation and Referencing for Beginners also, but this includes referencing. Both of these terms, citation and referencing, are incorporated in the term documenting or documentation. So when you document your sources, you use citations, in-text citations, and references at the end of your piece of work, the last section.
Hello guys, how are you? Today I'm back with a video, and it is about citation and referencing for beginners. Say you are in a college or in the university and you have an assignment to write. For example, an essay or a literature review or any other piece of writing. What will you do now? Where will you go to gather the informations you need to write? In this case, you will either look for some papers, like journal papers, or you will go to the library and start digging into the books, or the most used option these days, you will go online and look into many websites. You have now gathered all the information you need, and you want to use all those information into your assignment. Now, what next? If you directly copy and put that information into your project without citing the source, you might get into some serious trouble for plagiarism. In order to avoid this, you need to acknowledge the source of that information. In simple words, we can use the information if we properly cite the source. So guys, let's talk about citation and referencing now. Citation is a specific source that is mentioned in the body of essay or paper. Now, what is a body of paper? I will explain to you guys later in this video. After you cite in the body of essay, you need to provide the list of all those sources at the end, which is called reference. Alright, so if you take an example of this paper here, you can see citation in introduction, and introduction is a body of this paper. All those which are underlined in the introduction are called citations. Whereas, if you see here, references include the list of all those sources. So basically, if you have 30 citations in the body, you will usually have 30 references at the end of your essay. So, how can you cite? There are 3 ways to cite: name and year system, alphabet number system, and citation order system.
So the first one, the name and year system, is what I call the author date system. Author date system, like the one we're going to discuss in the textbook that is used by the APA. But as you can see, there are other systems. Let's take a look at these systems quickly.
Name and year system. Here, you cite as mentioned in these sentences. For example, this sentence here was written by author Hughes in 1983. So you cite as Hughes 1983.
Author date.
Similarly, if there are 2 authors, you cite as Armstrong and Locke, then year 1974. Also, if there are more than 2 authors, you cite as first author et al. Followed by comma, and year like Mills et al. Then year. In this system,
this word, by the way, which he pronounced as et al., it can also be pronounced et al., and that's my pronunciation. Et al. Is more standard than et al. So et al. Would be pronunciation number 1. Et al. It's a Latin expression meaning and others. So we use et al. When there is more than one author, more than 2 authors, like 3, 4, 5 authors. But as we shall see when we talk about the in-text citations in the textbook, for the first mention, if you are citing a source that is made up of more than 2 authors, then the first mention, let me look at you. In the first mention, that is the first time you mention the source, you need to write the names of all authors. But in subsequent mentions, you write just the first author, the name of the first author, of course the family name. And then you write et al. For subsequent mentions. And then you could also, if you are not using a bracket, you could say according to Thomas and Associates, and between brackets the year. Thomas and Associates, like, so associates here is like et al. at al should be between the brackets. Like you say something, and then between the brackets, Thomas et al. 2020. Or according to Thomas and Associates, blah blah blah. According to Thomas and Associates, 2020, between the brackets, blah 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 blah. Okay. So let's get back to the video.
References are listed in alphabetical order at the end of your paper or essay. Alphabet number system. In the example given here, you can see citation as numbers 2, 3, and then 1. You give this number in brackets. Here, you give a number to the source of information that corresponds to the number of the source in alphabetical listing of reference. This will be more clear when I give you an example later on. Citation order system. When you
is this understood now? The alphabet number system. So in the references section at the end of your paper or assignment, you list the references alphabetically, using with authors whose family names begin with A. And then you move on. In the body for the in-text citations, you write a number. So if you are using the third reference in the list, so you write a 3. Fourth, you write 4. 1, you write 1. So this is another system for in-text citations. Which system to use? This will depend on you, on the university or institution you are working at or enrolled in. So you will have no choice usually in this. Even when you publish an article, you will have to follow the style manual of the given journal. So journals also have different, or use different journals use different style manuals. Generally, the practice is close or similar. I mean, the issues you need to include, the details are the same. The year, the name of the author, the publication place, the publisher, so the same details. But how you organize the details might be slightly different from a template or a style manual to another. So if you want to publish an article, then you need to know, you will find in the journal's website a template for referencing, and you will know whether they use the APA style or the MLA style or the Chicago manual or any other. So but once you have this background, today's lesson, this will make you understand quickly any other variations in the future. But you need to have this background first. And universities also have, they either adopt or adapt certain style manuals. So you will have to follow these. So when you write an assignment, when you write your thesis, you will have to follow the style manual given to you by the Postgraduate Center. In OPSI, we call this center IPS, Institute of Graduate Studies, IPS. So you will know this from your university or the journal you intend to publish into. Let's look at the other system. Of course, the most common is the first one, the author date system. But as I said, because I have published papers in journals that require the alphabet number system, and maybe I can look for such papers and send them to you. So I have published in journals that require the name and year or author date system, and journals that also require the alphabet number system.
Cite the sources of information in your essay or paper. You give a number in brackets that corresponds to the number of source listed in the order in which they appear in the body. I will explain what this means to you guys in a minute. First, let's look at name and year system. This is how you reference at the end of your essay. You can see a very specific format here.
Right.
The text that appears in yellow is author name. Text in
This is the kind of referencing we're gonna use now in the textbook. If you can move it quickly to page, you will see that it's following the same format. Page, where is it? Uh, 64. The referencing, writing references. So there is an example on page 65 in the references, the Lucci, blah 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 blah. So it should look the same.
green is the year when that paper was published. Text in sky blue is the title of that paper. Text in gray is journal's name, and text in red is volume and page of that paper. And all these components make a good reference. Let's talk about alphabet number system now. Here guys, references are listed in alphabetical order. This is how you can reference. In the body of your essay, citation appears corresponding to the number of the source in alphabetical listing of reference. I have included arrow to explain it in a better way here. Citation 1 is appearing here after 2. However, citation 1 is Armstrong, and alphabetically Armstrong appears before Hughes. You can pause this video here to understand this in more detail. Alright, last one, the citation order system. Here you have two sentences. For the first sentence, citation is 1, and for the second, citation is 2 and 3, which are in the brackets. In the reference, you can see the source in an order that corresponds to citation in the body as shown by black arrow here. I hope you have understood the ways to cite by now. Before we wrap up this video, I want to quickly take you through some other very simple things to consider. If you are using a book, then you can cite and reference like this. You need to include name of the author as well as name of the book publishers and location of the publication. And say you are citing a website, then you will need to include URL of that website as mentioned here. It's easy. Also, if you want to know more about citation styles, there are different styles such as APA, MLA, Chicago, etc. APA is used mainly for fields such as education, psychology, and science. MLA mainly in humanities, and Chicago mainly in business. There are other styles as well. I can make a more elaborated video in that if you guys are interested. You can leave the comments below if you are. So guys, this is all for today. I hope this video was useful to you. Please let me know. And also please do not forget to like and share this video, and most importantly, subscribe our channel. I'll be back with another video very soon. Thank you guys. Bye bye.
Alright, maybe now we can get back to the presenters. Stop presenting. You can resume presenting, folks, in text citations.
Okay, so for in-text citation, like the video said, a quote is the exact wording of a statement from a source. Quotes make an essay more believable. They are evidence that can support your thesis. Moving on to direct citation, Quotes printed word for word exactly as the author wrote them are direct quotes. These words appear inside quotation marks. The attribution words appears outside the quotation marks. The attribution is the phrase that tells who said it, meaning where you got the information. For example, you guys can refer page 57 on the textbook. Okay, so here are the example. For the first example, according to Jill, 2005, that is the attribution word, and it appears outside the quotation mark. Okay, next slide. Okay, next is paraphrasing. A paraphrase is a restatement of someone else's ideas, evidence, or opinions using your own words. A paraphrase is typically similar or longer in length than the original passage. You must cite a paraphrase because credit must be given for intellectual property. And again, you guys can refer page 58 for the example of a paraphrase. Okay, I think that's all for me. I will pass it to the next presenter.
Can you again take a look, guys, at the class, at the examples in the textbook? At the bottom of page 57, a direct quotation. So, A, Sharmila, can you read the example? And the rest, take a look at the example. See how in-text citation is done for a direct quotation.
Would you like me to read the slide?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, I mean from the textbook.
The example.
Yeah.
Only the example, right?
Only the examples. The rest can follow you by looking at the book.
According to Gill, 2005, the Malaysian government has a strong hold on education. Any major change in language policy has always needed approval at the government level. Page 242.
So when you use a direct quote, you need to mention the page number. Let's see other ways of including a direct quote. Look at B and C. Other ways of doing it, B and C.
Would you like us to read it as well?
Yes, please, and the rest can look.
Okay. The Malaysian government has a strong hold on education. Any major change in language policy has always needed approval at the government level. Gill, 2005, page 242.
Maybe Jill. The third way to do it.
And then the third way is Gill, 2005, claims that Malaysian education is controlled by the government because major change in language policy has always needed approval at the government level. Page 242.
What's the difference between C and A?
A, it says, according to Gill, 2005. Jill, thank you. However, in the third one, it does not have according to, but it has claims that a reporting verb. According to is also a reporting verb, but this one has claims.
Which one shows the opinion of the writer? Reflects the opinion of the information quoted.
C, Doctor.
C. So C reflects the opinion of the writer of the material quoted. So Jill, according to the writer, claims blah blah blah. Jill states. Jill argues. Jill finds found out. Jill or finds out. So the reporting verb can express the writer's intention or opinion of the quoted material. So this is not available in one, according to, or as mentioned by. All right. if we want to, if we are paraphrasing information, the same thing, but we do not need the page number in the case of paraphrasing, but we still need to mention the author's name and the year of publication. Okay, go on.
Okay, thank you to my wonderful teammate Azad for enlightening us with the explanation for in-text citation, direct quotation, and paraphrasing. Of course, when you want to incorporate ideas from retrieved information into our writing, we have to look at the details of the publication first. Since we retrieve information from various sources, there are some details that are not made available. Therefore, we must choose the right format of citation because there are publications with more than one author, without the author's name, and some may even get information from indirect sources. So let's start with the first one, which would be in-text citations with more than one author. By now, I'm sure most of us understand what it like to feel like finding information for an assignment online or referring to textbooks for it. And I am most certain that we have stumbled upon publications that has more than one author. For example, academic books, internet articles, and scholarly journal articles. These sources usually have more than one authors. In this case, we should always include all the names of the authors mentioned. And there are a few ways to do so. Now, I have come up with some simple formulas for creating the citations. And this is based on the examples that you might see in page 59. So it's best if you refer to the textbook carefully and try to associate what I am about to deliver. First, we can enclose the names using parentheses or brackets as we would like to call it. So we start off with the piece of information followed by the author and date, which are enclosed in the parentheses, and close the sentence with a full stop. The next is by listing the line end of the 5 followed by the year, of et al. This is when we cite a work for the second time. Et al, as mentioned by Dr. Aladdin, is a Latin phrase which means and others. It is placed after the first author's surname in a parenthetical citation, which means in the brackets. So it might look like
Hazel, please guys refer to the, again, yes. Refer to the examples on page 59, A, B, C.
Yes.
So A, blah, 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 look at the brackets at the end before the full stop. So you mentioned the author's names. Here there are two authors. Notice that the ampersand is used between the two authors. What is ampersand?
The N.
The N.
And. It stands for N.
So we call it ampersand. Can we write it in the chat? Ampersand. Ampersand. Hazel, can you write ampersand in the chat? Ampersand. Okay, so this is and. So instead of writing and, A and D, we use the ampersand. And then comma, and then the year of publication. Look at B. Why do we have the page name here? The page number? Because there is a dialectic quote. According to Osman, Nayan, Mansour, Meeson and Shafi, notice that for the first mention all the authors are mentioned, but in subsequent mentions you just use at all, as we said. Can also be pronounced at al, but less common. And we have the page number in B because there is a direct quotation. C, we are quoting the same source, and so we're just using the first name, Osman, and then at all. Notice that at all should be written in italics, should be italicized and followed by a full stop and then a comma. So the full stop, because this is a short form, at all. There is no comma after between the name and at all. So Osman at all, and then the full stop to indicate that it is an abbreviated form, and then the comma and then the year. Such minutiae, such details might differ from a style manual to another or a journal to another. So you've got to pay attention to the template or the style manual of the publisher or university you are working at. But this is the general practice. Okay, move on, Hazel. In-text citations without author's name.
Okay. Since Dr. Aladdin has explained the difference between the first citation and the second citation, you must remember, we don't list down all of the author's name. We just use the first name and the et al. In italics. Okay? Okay. Next slide. So in-text citations without author's names. In some cases, we might discover some sources of information that has no known author or publication date. Like this is mostly in internet articles, internet websites, newspaper articles, blog articles, and many more. But not, because these are some of the alternatives to cite a source without the author's name or publication date. Number one, we can replace the author's name by using the institution's name. Most internet articles, especially from organization websites, government agencies, and corporate companies, do not mention the writer's names. If so, the institution's name can be used instead. It follows the same structure as in the direct quotation. So you can refer to the example in page 59, and you can also refer to the formula I have came up with. And for the second one is including the title of the article. We should take note of the title's length, because for long titles, we should only use the first few words of the title, maybe about 3 or 4 words. And for short titles, we can use the complete title. The third way is to by using ND, which stands for no date. Sometimes articles without authors' names do not include the publication date. So we can use the ND to indicate that the publication date could not be located in the article.
Yeah, unknown.
So
when the date is not known, what to do? Don't invent your own date. So you write ND, which indicates that there is no date. In my PhD thesis, there is a source that I consulted, and I didn't know the date, so I wrote ND. And there are sources that I did not know their authors. So you're gonna, if you pursue a career in academia, or if you decide to go for especially postgraduate studies, you will encounter all sorts of publications. So some without unknown authors, some without unknown dates. Of course, the majority you will know, especially if your sources are reliable. Even if they are internet sources, but they are still reliable from reliable websites. Most of your sources will have a date of publication and clear names of authors. But you might come across some publications whose dates of publication and authors are unknown. So in this case, you write ND for the author, for the date, and if the author is not known and This is not a name of an organization or a company or an institution. You just write the title of, or part of the title of the publication. If the university or company or is known and the author is not known, so you mention the name of the institution in this case. Online articles from organization websites, government agencies, and corporate companies do not usually include the writer's name. And so, in this case, you use the institution's name in place of the author's name. Okay, carry on.
Okay, thank you for that, Doctor. And so for the next part, which is in-text citation from indirect sources, I would like to hand the baton to my amazing teammate. Take it away, Jennifer.
Alright, thank you, Hazel, for the explanations. Good afternoon, Dr. Aladdin and my fellow classmates. So without wasting any time, I will continue this presentation by in-text citations from indirect sources. Sorry. Okay. So, what is indirect source? So, indirect sources mean information or an idea or any kind of work by a person is cited by another author or another person of the article. Okay. So, for example, this indirect source actually works in a circle. Okay. So, for example, Dr. Aladdin comes up with an original text. Okay, he comes up with an original text, and Jaden takes the text and he paraphrases it. That one we call direct source. Indirect source means, let's say Al-Zakri, he wants to use the text, but he doesn't take the text from Dr. Aladdin. He takes the text from Jaden and he paraphrases it. And that is what means indirect source. That means it is not from the main person who actually wrote the text. So you all get it? Okay, yeah. So that is what means in-text citations from indirect source.
So what do we do in this case to acknowledge the original author and also the medium or the intermediary author through which we through which Zach in this case got to know about it. So what do we do? We use the word cited. Carry on, Jennifer.
Okay, so
as cited.
So as we use this same example here, so you must mention the person, the original person who actually wrote the text, and also the writer of the article in our in-text citation. That means Dr. Aladdin's name must be in, and also Al-Zakri's name must be in also. So as you see in page 60...
No, you mean Jaden's, I think...
Oh yeah, sorry.
Yeah, Jaden's name.
Yeah, forgive me, Jaden's text. So if you see in page...
60.
60,
Look
yeah.
at A and B.
Mm-hmm.
Guys, look at A and B. So Gardner proposes that each individual owns no less than 7 different intelligences. Gardner proposes. I have come to know about this through Osman et al. So I did not read directly Gardner's. I read this information through Osman. So the original author is Gardner, and then you open it brackets. You write the year of the original publication, Gardner's publication, 1998. By the way, I read this book.
Yeah.
But by the way, seriously, I read this publication. I read it, I think, maybe in 1999. So it was recently published. Emotional Intelligence. It was titled. So Gardner brackets the year of publication, and then as cited in Osman and the rest of the team. As cited in. because you knew this information through Osman. It was cited in Osman. And then the year of publication of Osman, the year of publication, and the page of it's a quotation. Look at B. Each individual owns no less than 7 different intelligences. The same thing, brackets and then a full stop. So Gardner, 1998, this is the original publication, but you've come to know this through Osman et al, as cited in Osman, Nayan, Mansour, and the rest of the team and associates. Are we clear on this, guys? So there are many details, many specifics. As you get involved in academia, you will practice this and you will get better at it. It might be overwhelming now, too many details, but you don't have to worry. When you actually want to cite references, you can consult depending on the reference. If it's a book, if it's a chapter edited in a book, if it's an article in a journal, so you could come back to this textbook if you are in doubt, to this chapter, and depending on the kind of publication, you see what you should do. With a name, without a name, online article, journal article, a newspaper, etc., etc. If you cannot recall all this information, you can just double check when you want to document your sources later on. Okay, Jenny, carry on.
Yeah, all right. So as Dr. Aladdin explained about how to write down the original and the scholarly insight, so that's how you should do it.
So remember, as cited in this case, the words are cited in, Cited in,
yeah. All right.
Excuse me. As cited in. You may also write sometimes as a quoted in.
Quoted.
If it's paraphrased, as cited in. But if you are if it's a quote, then as a quoted in. Gardner, 1998, as a quoted in Osman, and then bracket, because it's a quotation. So cited or a quoted in, depending on whether it is a paraphrase or a quotation.
All right. Okay. So we move on, yeah. All right. Next, we are going to look at the important features of in-text citations. So there are 5 important features. We will look at the first one, okay?
What are they?
The first one.
What are the 5 quickly? Author's name, then
author's name, publication date, punctuation, page number, and repeated work of same author in same year.
Okay.
So the first one is the author's name. Okay, all in-text citations need to have an author's name and the publication year. So what can you do if you can't find any names? Like Hazel explained just now, you can write the organization name or the first 3 words of the article. Okay. So, and for direct quotation, don't forget to add page number. So this information is a mandatory wajib like that, okay, so that our in-text citation becomes acceptable or valid. So in this case, if you you can also avoid plagiarism, because if we didn't state this author's name, we can be accused of committing an academic offense, which your work will be automatically unacceptable.
And you will fail the course like Azad. And
yes, you will fail the course, or sometimes lecturers who are very strict, they might even expel you from the university. So you can look at page 61 for examples of writing the names. So usually when they write name, author's name, they take the surname or the family name of the person. Okay, so these are the examples. You can look for more reference in page 61 in your textbook.
I won't say the last name because Because different people write the surname or position the surname differently. In my culture and in European, communities, the last name is usually the surname, or the surname, the family name is usually the last name. But in some other societies, the last name could be the first name, like in China. So
Yeah.
Chinese names begin actually with family names. So it's safe to say the surname or the family name rather than the last name, since
All right.
different people organize or have different structures for their names. Let's see these structures and highlight them. So European names, including even Arab names, okay, and even Malay names, okay. Jennifer,
Oh yes, doctor.
in the case of Arab names, European names, and Malay names, the last name will be the family name. Can you
Yeah.
look at the examples? Jennifer,
Osman.
can you also help us?
This is the
Page 61. Yes.
yeah. Want me to read it, doctor?
Highlight some.
Oh, okay, yeah, I'm highlighting.
You mean highlight the slides?
So you can, I think it's,
Yeah,
you
I
can
think
you can take a look at the book. It's clearer.
yeah.
So American, British, Italian, or European names. This is also applicable to Arab names and also Malay names, and even Indian names. So the surname is the last name, and so John Reed. So Reed is the surname. The surname is the last name. Ken Highland. So Highland. Alan blah blah blah. So blah blah.
Continue Morawa.
Uh-huh.
Continue Morawa.
And I don't know how to pronounce this. So how to pronounce this?
It actually depends on the type of family name you have, actually, right, doctor?
In the case of European names, Arab names, Indian names, Malay names, the last name is the surname, and so you write the last
Yeah.
name. Write the last name, as in these examples. So I said the same thing with Malay, Arabic, and Middle Eastern names. So the last name will be the surname. So Mazira binti Osman, so Osman. Shamshad, I don't know, Osman. Zaliha Haji Hussein, Hussein. This is my name, but this is the old spelling of my name, so it is no longer used. Aladdin Assaiqeli, so Assaiqeli. This is the older spelling of my name. Bita, so the last name is the surname. Let's hear. Here you need to pay attention. Chinese, Korean, and Japanese names. Any Chinese here knows that the first name in the Chinese name is the surname. Any Chinese here? Who is a Chinese?
Me, doctor.
Can I see you? How come? Is this Kate?
Kate Benhoy Bully.
I'm Chinese, doctor.
But your name doesn't sound Chinese.
Because I'm mixed Filipino, doctor.
I don't know. Okay, Kate. But Kate looks like your personal name.
My surname is Lee.
So you are not following the structure. I mean, you are not a typical Chinese.
No, because I'm mixed.
A typical Chinese would start, the name of a typical Chinese would start with the family name, and then the generation name, and then the first name. So the last name will be the first name. Unlike European, Malay, Indian, and Arab names, the last name will be the family name. And so Chiang, Ang Kwong, Chiang is the family name. And so you write it Chiang. Chiang, not Kwong. Kwong is the first name. Like Kate, like Jada, like Shamila, like Aladdin. So if the name is Chinese, the first part or element should be the family name and should be the one to cite. Thomas, Chow, Voon, Fu. When there is a European name as the first element in a Chinese name, then that's that this is not the first name. The last name, and so the last name will be Chow. Obviously, Thomas, this is maybe a Chinese who has become a Christianized Chinese, and so adopted a European name, a Christian name. So Chow will be still the family name. Richard Yan, obviously Richard is a European name. And so in this case, Yan will be the family name of a Chinese. The last two are Japanese and Korean. So it seems that Japanese names and Korean names are made up only of two elements. And so the second element will be the surname or the family name. Alright? In Chinese names, three elements. The first is the family, the one to be cited. If the name, as in the case of the last two, Japanese and Korean, they're made up of two elements. So the second element is the surname. Indian names, so just like European, Malay, Arabic, and Middle Eastern names, the last name will be the surname. So Subramaniam Govindasamy, this was my PhD supervisor. Serious. Because the authors know him. And the rest of the examples. Okay, Jiffy, right. Jenny, carry on.
Alright. Okay, thank you, Doctor, for that explanations. We will go to, without wasting any time, we will move on to the publication date, the second important feature of in-text citations. Alright. Okay, together with the author's name, we should not forget to write the publication year. Okay, so we need to write the date for whether it's in direct source or indirect source. Publication date is also a mandatory thing. So we need to write the okay, so if while searching for the publication date in any websites or books and you couldn't find, just in you can just write N full stop D, which means no date.
Also another full stop, because both are abbreviated forms. So the N is short for no, and the D is short for dot.
Date.
No date. Yes. So we need another dot also here. Okay.
Right.
Carry on. Punctuation.
Okay. So basically, the date is just to confirm if your information is a latest one, and it also makes other people easy to find further details about your material. Right? Moving on, another important feature in in-text citations is the punctuation.
There are four.
Yeah, there are four, and Doctor has shown the video just now. And there are brackets, quotation marks, ampersand, and comma. So as we discussed previously, the author's name and the publication year can be put together in the brackets, like this example. The Lorden, Northern, and Menin. We can just insert it in a bracket, but never forget to separate them with the commas. That is why these are the main punctuation marks.
Which are 4 in number.
Yes. So if you can see, there are brackets, and then you have the ampersand because there are two different people who actually wrote, and then you have the comma to separate between the date and the authors.
Very good.
And
Move on.
this
Page
is the
number.
date. Yes. Okay, next. Moving on, we'll go to the page number. Page number is also an important feature because it should be in bracket. Okay, so to indicate the page, instead of writing PAGE, you can just put in a bracket with the small letter P, followed by a full stop, and then the page number. Example,
This is
page.
if it's a direct quotation. For paraphrasing,
Yes.
no need for page
Number.
by the
Yeah.
way, some style manuals do not require the P. You just write, you open brackets and just write the page number. So whether to
Yeah.
include the P or not to include the P will depend on the style manual you're gonna use for, a certain assignment. Okay, a repeated move on to number 5.
Okay. Okay, so the final one is also an important one, and it is repeated work of the same author in the same year. So in an academic paper, it may consist of in-text citations from the same author more than once. So for example, so if the publication year is also the same, put it together with small letters alphabetically. So if you look at this example below here, you can see it's according to Brown 1996A. That means it was a text from Brown on 1996. And let's say your second point is also from the same material but different paragraph maybe.
No.
You can write it.
No, this means a different publication in the same year by the same author. Like Brown, publishing 2 books or 1 book and 1 journal article, and you consulted, and both are published in the same year, but they are 2 different titles.
Oh yes.
That belong to the same author in the same year. So in the references, you have 2 publications under a Brown, both in the same year. And so you need to write, if there's more than 1 publication, you use A, B, C, D, if there is more than 1 publication in the same year, so that we can trace in the in-text citations with the references at the back. Alright? So A means here, if you look at the references, you find a title. If you B, you find another title by the same author in the same year. Okay.
Alright. So I'm sorry for accidentally. Yeah. So alright. So this is for my part. Thank you, Dr. Aladdin, for guiding me. So we will move on to the next one, writing references.
Alright.
So
Now
will take
a break is due. We're going to take a 20-minute break. During the break, I would like you, over a cup of coffee, to work on practice 1. So maybe you can add 5 more minutes, 25 minutes then. Work on practice 1 over a cup of tea. We shall meet, and who can do the calculations 25 minutes from now?
Alright.
So this is going to be 4. Come on, 4:10.
4:13.
4:30. Yeah, it's exactly
4:13.
4:15 maybe. We make it 4:15, doctor.
Not too much,
4:10.
not too little.
4:13.
5 o'clock.
4:12.
4:12.
4:12.
All right.
Because I don't like odd numbers. I like even numbers.
Even numbers. All right.
Okay, doctor.
So about 10:12. Sorry, 4:12 will be back. Work on practice 1, please. And when we come back, we're going to move to section 4.2, the references list, the references section. Okay. Enjoy your break.
All right. Thank you, doctor. Thank you, doctor.
خليني الأوضة أنا كنت أربع فيها.
خليني أدخل.
اتصلوا تليفون تاعون الموبايل قالوا إنه خلص فيكست يعني خلص من اليوم تعالوا خذوا انت، فقالوا انا حخبر بابا انه هلا على الكلاس ان شاء الله يجوا. فانت يعني اذا ما عندكش مصاري خلص خلينا من الخميس، يعني ما فيش عندي مشكله، انا اصلا مش مستعجل على ولا مستعجل. ايه؟ انت ايش هذا؟ بطلتها في خلاص؟
الكاميرا والهذا ماطين هم الطلاب الكاميرا دي واقفة والمايك واقف بس الطلاب موجودين يعني في
هلا راحوا؟
هم معظمهم بكون خلصين من قلت الآن فيها ينفع الحركات في حالة في واحد قاعد من قاعدين
ايش اليوم بقول لك روح طلع عليهم في الوضع وبرصوا. خلينا نزلها بس نزلها نزلها ما عمل اليوم أول من 5 سنوات عمل هات بسرعة لا شوية خلص بابا قال. طب يلا بدي اشوف كيف اعمل قشطه. ها سامع الطلاب؟ جربوا الصحاب جربوا عمر هعيد بابا رجع تاني. أنا؟ طب يلا اتفرج وخلص الفيديو واحد. تفضل يا علاء. وين احط لك اياها يا علاء؟
هاي بسدة بدك تسديها؟
كله غسلتها. اشرب.
كان هنا بنحكي يا قوم الجهاز مش النوع هذا حتى الأنجوري حاليا.
حرام الفيديو عارفة.
خلاص هو وش تبي؟ ايه ولا ناقص يا بنتي.
جوني بين بابا. بالمرة. هو ما بقول له يجيب لي شيء ولا يعمل لي ما بيعمل لي شيء.
عجبني شوي حسيت بالفش ولا هلا الدبل في بحر هذا معيطات بس هيك قاعد تنزل.
ايش هذا يا بابا؟
إذا تعرض
وسام قال شوي.
خذي يا حبيبتي حبيبتي حبيبتي. وسام علاء بتعرف الأساور اللي بيكونوا ستون؟ أساور ستون يعني ناتشورال. ايه؟ يا علاء في أساور يعني بتلاقيهم حتى في أحيانا محلات الذهب محلات الهيكة. شفتهم على زالة يا علاء. يعني ممكن اسوره تكون ب 150 180 ممكن ب 75. ايش رايك اجيب لي واحده؟ ليه؟
عندي طبعا انتهى شكل ما حكيت.
يا علاء طيب ما قلناش شيء احنا لما نجيب هذا. طب هذا حجم حلو غالي بقول ثمينه.
طبعا انتهى عندي.
عشان بنبيع يعني؟
عشان الباقي يكون مسموح صراحه. أو هنجيب موبايل كمان.
لا أنا يعني
هاتيك الرقم. أنا تعال بضاعة ثانية. أنا تعال بضاعة ثانية. صار فيها 160 رينجت في الموبايل كمان. 120 و30 شرينا أو 35 شرينا لهذاك و10 كمان قطعة اللي شريتها 160 أو 60.
ايش قطعة شريتها؟
لا تسخليش عن وايرلس بالإمكان.
هذه. بس هل ممكن تساعدني تخليه يعني أشحن؟
لا احنا بدنا نحط له البيت ثاني حماية من الأطفال. لأن هذه ممكن أحط له البيت تشحن بس بيت خفيف زي اللي كان قبل. فالعملية دي كلها بجنس كده.
بس أنت ذكر بدي أخذها أنا أحافظ عليها أحطها معايا. الشاحنة.
موجودة عندي
أخذها فوق الشنات اللي عندي حطها في مكة ماما ها جوها.
برضه مزعج برضه مزعج تعرف كتير شوية كده تعالي العب الصغيرة يا فاطمة.
طب يلا كمليها.
جنوش خلاص.
نطت مخلصين مخلصين؟
لا يبغوا فولا
ما خلص يا ماما ما خلص؟
أنا فوت stay. كده
expensive.
في أفريقيا أغلى كتير.
Hello class and welcome back.
Hello, Doctor.
Okay, now we're going to move on and look at the other aspect of documentation or documenting one's sources, and that is referencing. So there are two interrelated issues, the in-text citations and the in-text citations and the referencing page or the references section. But we can take a video before we play the before you present. Can we have a video about this issue? Okay, still the basics of APA in text citations, 6th edition. Okay.
On the APA reference page, you list all the sources that you've cited in your paper. The list starts on a new page right after the body text. It's very important to follow the APA guidelines. There are specific guidelines for formatting the page itself and the references in the list. In this video, you'll learn how to do it effortlessly. Stay tuned! Hi, I'm Jessica from Scribber, here to help you achieve your academic goals. The reference page follows the general APA formatting guidelines. If you're not sure what they are, check out this video first. I'll quickly set it up now. Choose a legible and widely accessible font, like 12-point Times New Roman, 1-inch page margins, and double-line spacing. This is an example of a student paper, so we don't need to insert a running head, only a page number. Now, place the section heading References in bold and center it at the top of the page. Moving on to the references. There are different rules to create references for books, journal articles, websites, and more. There are two ways you can create your references, either manually or use a citation generator. I'll first show you how to do it easily with Scribber's free citation generator. Let's say I want to cite an article. Click on Journal, search the article by title, double check the information, and cite source. When you finish entering all the references, you can copy the entire list.
It's important to sort the references in alphabetical order based on the author's last names. If you copy them from Scribner's citation generator, the references are automatically in alphabetical order. All that's left to do is format the references with hanging indents like this, which basically indents all the lines except the first. Select the entire list, pull the arrow on the ruler to 1/2 inch and the rectangle back to 0. And we're done. If you want to learn how to create references manually, click on this video or read more in the article below. You can play around with the options in the citation example generator to get familiar with APA style. Remember, you only need to include references for sources you've actually cited in the body text. For some student papers, it's common to describe or evaluate the source in an annotation. Place the annotations on a new line below the corresponding reference entry. Select the entire annotation and indent it by dragging the arrow to 1/2 inch. For an annotation that consists of multiple paragraphs, the first line of the second and any subsequent paragraphs is indented an additional 1/2 inch. Have fun creating your references. It's not that hard after all, right? If you need help with other APA formatting, click this playlist. See you there!
Alright, one last video.
So you've been told to include in-text citations in your paper, but don't know what exactly that entails. No worries, we've got you covered. In this video, we'll go through what to include in an APA in-text citation, where to place it in a sentence, and what to do with missing information. Let's jump right in. Hi, I'm Jessica from Scribner, here to help you achieve your academic goals. Let's start with what's an in-text citation. An in-text citation is a concise way to identify the source of certain information. It helps the readers to locate the corresponding entry in the reference list at the end of your paper. The in-text citation consists of the author's last name, the publication year, and if you're citing a specific part of a source, the page number or other locators such as a timestamp, paragraph number, or even a heading. Page numbers are not required when you're referring to the source as a whole. By the way, you can generate your in-text citations super easily with Scribner's free citation generator. Now there are two ways to integrate the in-text citation, parenthetical and narrative. For parenthetical citations, write the author name and the publication year within parentheses, and place it at the end of the sentences, just before the period. For narrative citations, some information is incorporated in the running text. As you can see from these two examples, the year and page number are placed within the parentheses. It's either placed right after the author's name, or at the end of the sentence just before the period. When your citation contains multiple authors, it can be quite confusing. Now, if your source has two authors, you use an ampersand between them, followed by the year. So here, it's Taylor ampersand Kotler, 2018. If your source has 3 to 5 authors, then for the first citation, you list out all the authors and only use the ampersand for the final one. From the second citation onwards, you only need the first author name, followed by et al., which means and others. And if a source has 6 or more authors, use et al. Right from the first citation. Don't forget a comma.
And don't forget to italicize at all.
In the 7th edition, the in-text citation for works with 3 or more authors is shortened right from the first citation using et al. Check out this video if you're interested to see what has changed in the 7th edition. Sometimes, you just can't find all the information you need to cite a source. Luckily,
the latest edition, the current edition of the APA style manual is the 7th, by the way.
there are some guidelines for this. If the author is unknown, but you know the organization that created it, for example, Scribner, then you should use the organization name. If you don't, then use the title. When using the title, format it the same way as in the reference list, so either in italics or in double quotation marks. You might also come across sources without a publication year. In that case, use ND for no date. If your source doesn't have page numbers, include a chapter or paragraph number instead. With the rules I just mentioned, dealing with in-text citations should be all smooth sailing from here. But if you ever come across an exception, just check out the article in the description. For example, when you find yourself in a situation where two authors have the same last name. Fun fact, did you know that there are 2 million Smiths in the US alone according to the 2010 US Census? And that's it for this video. If you've learned something, give this video a like, and if you have any questions, ask.
Okay, let me start presenting first. There is something that I would like to mention before I give the mic to the presenters.
Sharmila.
Why are... Okay. Book titles have to be italicized. Book titles and the references have to be italicized. But maybe this can be mentioned in the course of talking about writing references. Let's see the basic rules for references. Okay, Sharmila, the floor is yours.
All right. Okay, thank you. All right. So now I will be presenting writing references. Previously, my teammates explained about in-text citation, where you can include information from other authors to support your main ideas by incorporating the information via direct quotation or paraphrasing. References, however, are the complete information about the sources used for the in-text citations. So after you are done writing your paper and including the in-text citations, you must prepare references. Why? Well, firstly, references can help readers to search for more information from the sources. Moreover, it shows our credibility as a writer. How does it actually show our credibility, you may ask? Well, by providing the references, it can actually put your writing into an academic context and make your piece more convincing, because you will expunge the use of phrases such as everyone knows, it has been said, it is a fact, and replace them with actual and specific sources. It also shows your readers that you did your research rather than merely writing a piece based on your surface knowledge. For example, you have to write your, let's think about an example. You have to write an essay about diabetes, and you only have surface knowledge. You cannot write junk food causes diabetes, because it just does. You need supporting details to make your piece a masterpiece. Finally, references acknowledge the writer's contributions to the work. If we don't cite the references, we can be accused of plagiarism. We don't want that, do we? So let's go to the next slide, please. If we cite 3 types of information from 3 sources, our references, of course, will have 3 entries. Same goes to 4, 5, and it goes on. So let's take a look at the example on page 65. We have 3 print sources. Let me explain the process before we get into details. Let's assume you took information and include the in-text citation in your writing from these 3 sources. So this is how your paper would look like. Next slide, please. Let's take a look at the paragraph. As you can see, the reporting verbs are highlighted. They're not highlighted, but you can see that it shows indicates, agrees, proposes. Those are reporting verbs. And also there's writer surnames alongside with publication dates, and all the 3 in-text citations are there as well. Moving on, once you are done writing, as per mentioned, you will have to prepare the references. And this is how it would look like. Since you took information from 3 different sources, you will have 3 references. Now, I am being general about this because the order of the information that are supposed to be included in the references, print sources, online sources, and the basic rules for references will be explained by Jaden. So, take it away, Jaden.
All right, thank you very much, Sharmila.
Excuse me.
Yes?
Yes.
Okay, carry on.
All right. So, hello everyone. My name is Jaden, and today I will be speaking on the basic rules for references. So let us begin. So with the example that is on the screen right now, we can identify these three citations. Okay. So one of the first basic rule is the entries are written following the alphabetic order. So as you can see in the example, they begin with the Luki, follow the Luki because
the
the
Lucci maybe.
what is it? Doctor?
Maybe the Lucci.
The Lucci.
Italian,
Alright.
Italian. Fettuccine. Dolce la vita. So the C is a ch in Italian.
All right. So the Lucci, Harmer followed by Crescent. As you can see, they are arranged in alphabetical order. So the one that is higher in the alphabet is placed on top, and the one that is lower is followed. So the second basic rule is the surname must be written first, followed by the initial, and then the year in brackets.
By the initial or initials, if there is more than
Yes,
one element, initials.
Mhm. Yes, thank you, doctor. So again, based on the example, we can see that that it is written Delucci, comma, his initial M, and then the year in brackets. So it's the same for Harmer, comma, his initial J, and then the year in brackets, as well as Crescent, comma, S, his initial, and then the year in brackets. So third, as doctor has brought to light just now, the title of the book or journal must be italicized.
Again.
So, yes. So
again.
that we can see in
what
the
should
example.
What should be italicized?
The title of the book or journal must be italicized.
Okay, guys. So book titles and journal titles. Okay, what about the article in a journal?
We will get to that.
Okay. So guys, focus, because there are questions in the final about these issues.
All right. So thank you. And then other than the italicized of the title, the second line is dented 0.5 inches from the left margin compared to the first line. So as you can see in the example, based on all the examples, the first line is as it is, and then the second line is dented, and so on and so forth. Okay. So next slide, please. All right. So now I will be speaking on printed sources. Okay. So printed sources can be like printed materials such as books, edited academic books with or without chapters, newspaper, magazine articles, and scholarly journal articles. All right. So let us all refer to the textbook, page 66, as and follow along. All right. So for a book, as this one has been explained previously by all the other presenters, I will just go through it briefly. So as you can see here, based on as it is a book, there is the author's surname and the initials, followed by the year in brackets, the title of the book, which is italicized, and then the publication place as well as the publisher. So next, for edited academic books, this time instead of author, we will use editor or editors, surname and initials, followed by the edition, and then the publication year, title of the book, italicized, publication place, and then followed by the publisher. Next, edited academic books with chapters. So for this, we will use the author's surname and then followed by the author's initials, and followed by the title of the chapter, and then a comma, and then we can write down the editor's surname and initials, followed by the edition, and then the name of the book as well as the page number in brackets, and then ending with the publication place and the publisher. So for the fourth, we have newspapers with author. So if there is an author, we must, as usual, list down the author's surname as well as their initials, along with the publication year, whether it be the year, month, and date in brackets, as well as the article's title in quotation, and then the name of the newspaper, as well as the page number. Okay, so for a newspaper article without an author, so we begin with the article title in quotation, and then followed by in brackets the publication year, month, and date, followed by the newspaper name and the page number. Next page, please. Next slide, sorry. Alright, now for magazine articles, as per usual, begin with the author's surname and initials, followed by the publication year, month, and date in brackets, and then the article title, followed by the magazine name, and ending with the page number. And then for scholarly journal articles, also we begin with the author's surname, the author's initials, and then the publication year in brackets, and then the article title, then the journal name, and then ending with the volume number. In brackets, we list down the issue number, and then ending with the page number. And now for encyclopedias, we list down the author's name as well as their surname, and then the publication year, and then the article title, and then this time instead of the journal name, we list down the encyclopedia name, followed by the volume number and the issue number in brackets, and ending with the publication place as well as the publisher. So for unpublished dissertations, we list down the author's name and the author's initials, and then the publication year, and then this time we list out the dissertation title, and then in brackets we write the type of thesis, and then slash the name of the institution, and then ending with the place. And then finally for conference presentations, we list down the author's name and then the author's initials, and then as per usual we list down the year and the month, and then this time we write the paper title with a full stop, and the conference title, comma, the theme of the conference, and then the place. Okay, next slide please. Alright, so as well as for just now, we have print sources. So now we also have online sources, which also can be cited. So, okay, for the beginning is articles with articles written, initials, and then the year in brackets, as well as the article title, and then the retrieval date, and then the URL of the source. Then next, the article titles written by institutions or organizations. We write down the name of the organization or the institution, and then the date in brackets, and then the article title, the retrieval date, followed by the URL. And then for articles written by an unknown author, which can also be known as an anonymous author, for this we just write down the article title. We begin with the article title, and then the year in brackets, and then the date that we retrieve it, and ending with the URL. And then for online magazine articles, we write down the author's surname, the initials, and then the year, month, or date in brackets, followed by the article title, and then the magazine name, and then the retrieval date, and as per usual, the URL. Next slide, please. Alright, so okay, now we have online newspaper articles. So similar as before, this time we have the surname, the initials, the year, month, date, etc. And then the article title, as well as the newspaper name, the page number, the retrieval date, and the URL. So for the sixth one, we have online scholarly journal articles. It's also the same, writing down the surname, the initials, the year in brackets, article title, journal name, the volume number, the issue number, the page number, and then the retrieval date, then ending with the URL. And then for online scholarly journals with DOI, we list down the author's name and their initials, the year in brackets, the article title, the journal's name, and then volume number, issue number, page number, and then the full stop, and then we write down the DOI link. Okay, side please. Okay, so now we're just gonna do one of the practice. Just so that
What is DOY?
DOI means digital object identifier.
Digital object identifier. This is a unique number or a unique like maybe link to your work that you can add for works published online, or when you consult a source, an online article, so that has DOI, so you should mention it in your references at the end of the reference instead of the URL. So it is like the URL. Okay.
Alright, so now we're just gonna do one of the practice on the class, and then we can move on to the games after this. So everybody turn to page 75, and then we will try to do this together. Alright, and I will guide each step of the way. Alright.
Bring her down. Turn on the TV and keep the volume low.
Okay, so is everyone ready?
Guys, all what Jayden talked about is exemplified in the textbook. So to understand what was spoken very fast, you need to look at the examples. Every type of source, whether online scholarly journal articles or articles written by anonymous authors or books or whatever source of academic writing, there are examples. So look at the examples in a textbook at home.
Okay, Doctor.
Alright, so let's do this together.
What's that?
So as you can see in the question, the first thing we should do when we want to cite this, we should identify the author's surname and then their initials, because that's how we should begin. So once we identify the surname and the initials, next comes the publishing date. All right. So so it should be Dyson, M, and then the year 2004 in brackets. And then next, we can list out the title of the article, which is how a physical text layout affects reading from screen. All right. So okay, once we have the title, we can write down where it came from, which is behavior and information technology. And then next, once we have the name of the source, we can list out the page 23 and then page 6, and chapter 23 and then number 6, and then page and ending with the page, which is 377 until 293.
Play something to him.
So, does anybody else have any questions? Before we move on to the game?
What source is this?
Doctor, do you have anything to add?
What source is this?
What source is this? I believe that this is wait, let me see. I believe this is
What do you believe?
Maybe.
Maybe? There is no maybe. Okay, is it choose? It choose A, B, C, journal article, book, conference paper.
I think it's an article.
A journal article.
It is an article. Yes.
You can see clearly at the end. You can see the volume number and the issue number, volume 23, issue number 6, and the number of pages. Okay, in this case, what should we said in the case of books, we italicize book titles.
Yes.
So what should we italicize here?
The journal's name.
Yes.
The journal title. So what is the journal title here?
The journal title is the behavior and information.
Information what?
Sorry, behavior and information technology.
So why it isn't italicized?
There is an error from the slides.
Can you fix it?
I would like to apologize for that. Sure.
Can you guys look at page 68 for more examples of journal articles referenced journal articles, the bottom of page 68. For example, Highland K, and then the title of the article, Hedging in Academic Writing and EAP Textbooks, and then the title of the journal in italics, comma, the volume number, and then between brackets the issue number, followed by a comma, and then the number of pages of the article. Many articles in journals appear, the pagination is continuous. So the issue might contain, let's say, 300 pages. So a certain article might be pages, let's say 37 to 52, continuous pagination. So you need to number the number to mention also the number of pages of the article. Have you fixed it, Jayden? Look at the second reference.
Yes.
On page 68, the second reference, Highland K, 1996, Writing Without Conviction, Hedging in Science Research Articles. And then the title of the journal, Applied Linguistics, in italics, and then the rest of the information. Go on, please. What's that?
لا she wants to sleep. أنا أطلعها.
Okay.
She wants to sleep.
So now we can move for cooperating for our discussion.
Come, Wasim.
And just so, do join everyone. Yeah, because there will be a very special prize up for grabs. So yeah, so I believe you guys shouldn't want to miss it. It's very worthwhile and something money can't buy. See you then.
You winning? What is the game?
So everyone, the game pin is listed on the screen, and I will type it out in the chat box just for convenience.
Azad, please assist your friend.
Okay. So I believe we have Zach. You guys please join, guys. We have Zach with implying what he has learned today into his username. Much appreciated. Zach 2021, page 69. Nice.
Everyone, please join in.
You forgot to put the year in brackets, so please correct that error, Zach.
You like this? That?
Let's go, guys. The prize is very, very important, very, very mesmerizing,
Very special prize.
Yeah, very special prize.
handcrafted by the group members of this group. So yeah, join.
Let's see who can come up with the most creative name. There's no name, the most creative name.
Don't write on the board.
What time shall we start? We will wait for 3 minutes?
Yes. We will begin at 4:53.
Who did this? Who did this? There is a game.
Who's this here?
Who this? This one? Yeah. Again this? No, him. You winning? You winning?
Not yet.
Sarah, come on. Baby.
Masuk guys, masuk.
Ini, everybody to join.
To those who join me, you all get an A. And I can see 25 students who will have an A.
Muhammad, Fatima.
If you guys don't join, this guy behind. If you guys don't join, he will beat you up. So guys, please join right now. He'll find you while you are sleeping.
He's gonna haunt you.
No.
But he will plant it.
I. Here. Here. Here.
Quiz is done.
Alright, as the clock strikes 4:53, that marks the beginning of our game. So Jenny,
Alright.
if you may. Alright. Everybody, keep your eyes peeled.
Let's start the fun.
Okay.
True or false? For in-text citation with more than one author, not all the authors' names should be included. It's a trick question, guys. It's a trick question.
It's the purple one.
Yeah, it's the purple one.
Yeah, purple one.
Green. The answer is green. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. So, as 19 people got correct. So in the lead we have I am the prize.
Absolutely.
So all should be mentioned. Only
Yes,
the
all the authors' names should be mentioned.
only subsequent references should not be mentioned.
Yes, that is true. So what to write down if there is no publication date for any software? This one just now our friend Jenny has covered. So if you guys been paying attention, you would know this.
It's the green one.
It's TT.
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 Ooh, this fun. Again.
Alright, so it was Andy, as Andy stands for no date. So we have Oreo in the lead, congratulations, and Kim Jong-Uf Shy on number 2.
And Mickey or MKY number 3.
So what does the term retrieval date imply? This is also a trick question, and as I am not getting paid to do this hosting, the answer is green, guys. The answer is green. Spider-Man No Way Home.
December 17.
Thank you. No problem. Guys, I was kidding, guys. The answer was yellow. So congratulations to the 18 people. And now we have in the lead still Oreo, and I am the prize Shy of number 2, followed by Buddha Dog. Should the title of the book or journal be written in italics when citing them? So this one, Dr. Aladdin has not been emphasizing from just now, so you guys shouldn't know this answer.
Yes.
Alright, guys. Okay, so maybe it was not clear enough. Okay, so it's actually for books and journals, the title must be italicized, not one or the other, must be both.
What about the title of the title of the journal
still
article?
leading with the same number 2 and number 3. A paraphrase is a word that appears inside quotation marks. So is it true or false? So if you guys don't know the answer, you can you guys can choose call a friend so that they can assist you. And the answer is false. And about many got them right, but it's okay. So okay, that's good. Wifey now coming up the board. Kim Jong-un should be gone. So what are the 4 punctuation marks for an in-text citation? Alright guys, so as we have presented just now, the answer should be clear as day.
I doubt that it is number. Is it the red one?
No spoilers. No spoilers.
It looks like the red one.
It was red, guys.
red one.
It was red all along. Red was
Sus.
not sus. He was not. Alright, the leaderboard is still the same. So guys, let's keep going.
Nice
Alright,
work,
the
Oreo.
following can be used to replace the author's name when it is not stated in the publication, except Spider-Man No Way Home.
Watch it at cinemas.
What color is this?
This color?
This one here, is it green or yellow?
Yellow.
Yellow. If it's yellow, then I like yellow.
Yellow is
Alright, so guys, good job on the answer.
Yes.
So Kim Jong-un slowly coming back up.
Come on, wifey.
Blue.
Citations can be only done on printed sources.
Really?
So this is not the one that I presented.
Really?
So I believe you guys should not get the answer right. Yes. The answer is not false. Okay, guys.
So you are encouraging plagiarism this way?
No. You want to get knocked down by FBI, Jaden? I'm just stating the facts. Alright, the leaderboard stays the same. So I believe that we should make the questions harder next time. Alright? So in APA style, the list of references should be in order.
Red.
The by.
Green.
Yeah, this is one of the hardest questions. I pressed the wrong one! Oh no! I am the prize. Goodbye, leaderboards. Goodbye,
Oh
guys.
my god.
It was nice seeing you at the podium. But the answer was yellow. Yellow was it all along. Oh, so Kim Jong-un coming up to the top. Oh my. This is a tight competition. So how many types of sources are there during the introduction part?
Go and
so
count.
this
Go
one
quick
dates
and
back
count.
to the first part of our presentation.
I can see.
Right?
I can see
So,
you counting.
as to not help you guys, the answer is not 10, okay? It's not 10. It's not 10, guys.
Going to the textbook and counting is not a cheating.
Yeah.
Come on.
Okay, it was 10, okay? Alright, so that marks the end of our game. So let's see who has in the podium. So we have Oreo in third, with Wifey coming in second, and our winner is Kim Jong-un.
Let's go. Come on, next
So
one, everyone.
yeah, so can the winners write down your names in the chat? It's me. I'm Kim
Special prize.
Alright, so may I know
Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious.
Oreo? Yes, exactly.
Pay attention to the presentation,
Exactly. Okay. So may I know who is Wifey and
I'm
Oreo?
Wifey.
Okay. Thank you, Vanessa. And who is Oreo?
where is Rizlan?
Shazmila.
It's
Oh,
Shazmila.
Okay, Shazmila. All right. Rizlan. All right. So the prizes will be given to the winners shortly. So just give us some time, and you will expect the prize. So guys, thank you very much for participating, and that marks the end of our presentation. It's not a scam. It's
a real prize.
It's a real prize. Okay. So I believe everybody will have a glimpse of it. So until then, take care. Thank you for listening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So wait for an iPhone 13 as a reward for being on the podium.
It's more than that, Doctor.
Oh my
Sponsored
God!
by Dr. Aladdin.
Let's go.
What could be more than that? Sharmila herself?
Oh,
No.
This is really mind-boggling then. If it's not iPhone 13 nor Sharmila, what is the reward then?
It's more like this is something that money can buy. It's priceless, and it's handcrafted by our members. So it holds sentimental value.
Wow.
It's beyond your wildest
It's
dreams.
special,
Very
Doctor.
special.
It's special. Yes.
Can it be shared?
yes, Doctor.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, absolutely. That's our plan.
Sure.
So the winner, please, can you share it with me? Since it's priceless.
Yeah, we will send it to the group straight, Doctor.
Great. All right.
We'll ask for your address.
Okay, it's coming soon. It's coming soon. Just give me 2 minutes.
How did you enjoy the presentation, Doctor?
Absolutely.
Can you hear us?
Can you see your mark?
Is it a 10 out of 10? Is it 10 out of 10? Or a 20 out of 20 maybe?
Here is your mark.
We cannot see, Doctor. I don't see it.
Oh, God.
20 minutes!
Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you.
All because of Azad's video.
Yeah, that was.
All because of Sharmila's.
All right. So with the celebration, everybody. I would like to ask you guys to look at the WhatsApp group chat and the.
There is a prize for you all.
Yes. It's
Yes, everyone gets it.
Priceless.
Yes.
Last one, your name. You guys can insert you guys can insert your own names if you guys want to.
You need special customized letter, you can just access.
Yes, it's a certificate of appreciation.
Look at that.
Excuse me, before we
Please read the note. Yes.
before we end the class, let's look at the references section in one of my papers published this year. Can you see the references?
Yes, Doctor.
Okay, so let's look at a couple of references. The first one is a book. The second one is let's see. No, the first one is a journal article. The second one is a book. So a journal article. The author is Assaiqeli. Okay, we've said that we use the initials for the other elements of the name, but I told you that this would depend also, the specifics would depend on the journal you want to publish in, the institution you are enrolled in. So according to this journal, we must not use the initials. We must write the full names. That's why you need to consult each, the template of each journal and each university. So here, Assaiqeli Aladdin, the year of publication. Notice the full stop here and the full stop here, and then the title of the article. Palestine UN Discourse, a critical discourse analysis. full stop, and then the title of the journal in italics, comma, volume number, issue number, colon, number of pages, and then the DOI, which is similar to the URL. Can you see? The next reference is a book, also by Assaiqeli. This is the title of the book, The Linguistics of UNP's Discourse on the Palestinian Question, a critical discourse analysis. The country or place of publication, Germany, and then the publisher's name. The publisher is Scholars Press. Let's take one more reference. Alul Ja'far, 2016, Signs of Visual Resistance in Palestine, Unsettling the Settler Colonial Matrix, and then the title of the journal in italics, and then, as you know, volume, issue, page number, and the DOI. If we go through the text to look at some in-text citations, okay, here we see Assaiqeli 2019. Here we see Walsh 2009, 26, because it's direct quotation here, so you see the quotation marks. Ideologically driven lexicon. Okay. Here we have, according to Barron, 1987, and then the page number at the end, because I see quotation marks. Notice that there is no P here, which stands for page. So again, this depends on the specific journal or publisher you are dealing with. Notice here the second line from the top. You may notice the word ibid. Ibid is used to say in the same reference as before. So sometimes if you use the same reference in the same paragraph, so you could write ibid to say that this is the same reference, the same author, the same year, and if it's a quotation, the same page, ibid. Like here, for example, ibid, page 21. So it means, if we go back here, we see Amir 2018 2. So ibid means the same reference, the same source, Amir. Notice that there is no comma here. So according to this journal, there is no need for a comma between the author's name and the year of publication. So as you can see, there are some specifics. So in a certain journal, you need a comma between the author's name and the year of publication. In another, you do not. So these, as I said, the specifics you learn from the manual, the template of each journal, as required by each journal or as required by each university. Fine? If we look at another article published also by me this year, so so this is the references list. This is a book, Comrie, B, the initial, year, in brackets, full stop, then the title of the book in italics. Notice here there is at the end of the book, before the full stop, there is a bracket and second ed, second edition. So we might not have mentioned this. So when there is a second or a third edition or a fourth edition of the work, after the title, in brackets, you write first or second ed full stop to signify the edition of the specific book or publication. So you will learn more as you become as you engage more in academia, as you do more assignments, and as you write more. So this is a general picture, and it is sufficient for you to become, to write like an academic, but more specific details can be acquired in the course of learning and, you know, studying. I think this should be enough for this session. Documenting your sources, make use of this knowledge whenever you write an assignment. Consult this chapter from time to time depending on your needs, and best of luck. So as you can see, each week we look at an issue related to academic writing. By the end of this course, you should be able to write academically. But we have said also at the beginning of the semester in the introduction to this course, academic introduction to academic writing, that there are different types of genres, and each genre can be learned as in a separate course. For example, writing proposals, writing theses. So you need to learn more about these genres by studying, certain books. But you are on your way on the right track. Any questions?
None.
Okay, then. Jumpa lagi. See you next week.
Thank you.
Alright, see you, doctor.
Thank you.
Thank you, doctor.
Thank you, doctor.
Thank you, doctor.
Thank you very much, doctor.
Thank you, doctor.
وإلى اللقاء مع السلامة.
Thank you, Jaden.
Thank you, Jaden. Handsome tadi. Thank you, Afi. Ya dah.
Thank you, Izzat.
Thank you, Razlan.
Thank you, Rizlan.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tim Asfa.
Rizlan, where are you, Rizlan? You should have won the Kahoot, bro.